Today's excitement is brought to you by Nissan. Cam Newton, terrific first half, 162 yards in the air, and his 68 rushing yards, most of Newton's career in the first half. His Panthers lead by 3 touchdowns.
And you go back to that earlier matchup this season, you pointed it out, Kenny, that Cam Newton did not have a good day against the Saints in Week 9. Nice rebound this afternoon.
Saints will get the ball first here in the third quarter. And they will start from their 20-yard line. Well, you heard Drew Brees a moment ago in the huddle before the game. He said, let's give the fans what they've come to see. Well, what they have seen over the first 30 minutes is a dominating performance by Carolina on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, unfortunately, what they've seen over the first 30 minutes is what they saw the 3 previous games here at home, which is just so confusing because this used to be such a difficult place to play. 8-0 last season here at home, so I'm surprised to see New Orleans come out and play the way they did in that first half with control of their destiny to try and win the NFC South.
Saints only 84 yards on offense in the first half. That pass intended for Pierre Thomas with Luke Kuechly on the coverage. Goose.
Hey, Kenny, got the chance to talk to both coaches. Ron Rivera, we need to keep Drew, keep him off his spot. That's part of our success there on defense. Also, he said we need to go and can't get complacent. We need to come out in the second half. We've got to have the same kind of results we had in the first half. We're exactly where we want to be, but we have to keep moving as a team. We just can't sit back and think that Drew Brees is going to sit back and not get this job done. Sean Payton, his quote was, that was as bad a first half as I've ever seen and as we have ever played. We need to find some kind of rhythm, offensively and defensively. You know, when I asked him about Jimmy Graham, about getting him involved in the offense a little bit more, he says, Goose, I'd love to get him involved. We just need plays. Right now, we're not on the field enough to get any kind of rhythm as far as coaches or players to get this going. So Ron Rivera is doing exactly what he wants to do, is keep Drew Brees off the field.
Interesting comment, Goose, from Sean Payton, saying it's the worst first half he's seen. It's his 8th year as head coach of the Saints. Now Brees on 3rd and 8. He took a hit as he got rid of the football. Grabbed the intended receiver. Saints go 3 and out.
Well, lucky that's into the middle of the field, and it is up high, so they're very fortunate that there wasn't a Carolina defender behind Jimmy Graham. And here's Drew Brees off his spot again. And that's exactly what they talked about doing. Coney Ely gets him off that spot. Pressure. You can see the effect it had on the throw to Jimmy Graham.
Morstead waiting back at his 10-yard line. 3rd punt today. Angled towards the sideline. Out of bounds. Right around the 37.
Well, Sean Payton talked about offensively and defensively. Defensively, they just haven't been able to get off the field. You see the thing from season to today, 75% red zone touchdown efficiency today. They were struggling that during the year. You look at the 3 and outs, the fewest 3 and outs all season. Again, 0 today. Takeaways, the 4th fewest during the course of the season. None there in the first half to offset the turnovers by the offense. And look at 3rd down. They were last in the NFL coming into the game today in 3rd down defense. They allowed Carolina to convert 60% of those 3rd downs. That's why Drew Brees is not on the field.
Including 4 for 4 on 3rd down on that last scoring drive by Carolina. There was a late flag at the end of the punt, so it's a hold against Carolina. 10 yards marked off, so the Panthers will start at their 31-yard line with a 24-3 lead. Carolina, amazingly, with a record of 3-8-1. With a win today, would be just 1 back in the win column in the division with 3 games remaining. New Orleans 5-7, Atlanta 5-7. Falcons visit the Packers tomorrow night. And Carolina will travel to Atlanta on the final Sunday of the regular season as Stewart breaks free. And Jonathan Stewart is inside the 20, the 10, touchdown. He takes it all the way 69 yards.
This is just terrible run defense because I've seen that play 3 times today, and I knew that it was going to be a handoff to Jonathan Stewart. It's the same play every time. Now on this one, he's going to do a little bit different. He's going to wrap it around, but that's just terrible run defense. And when we talked to the Saints defenders, we talked to Cam Jordan, we talked to Rob Ryan and said, what do you think about the zone read? The option element in this offense of Carolina. He said, we've got it covered. We feel good about the rules. Well, that little cutback lane right there, I mean, Jonathan Stewart is in the end zone 7 yards downfield because there's nobody from New Orleans that's going to catch him.
Career long run for the 6-year vet Stewart. Gano the extra point. There is a flag.
Holding, number 53, kicking team. 10-yard penalty, ring try.
That's on Ben Jacobs. So the Panthers will set up for the extra point once again. So without D'Angelo Williams today, the all-time leading rusher in franchise history, the Panthers have picked up 212 yards on the ground. 134 for Stewart, 68 for Cam Newton.
212 yards on the ground, one play into the second half.
1 minute.
And remember what Cam Newton told us. He said, despite playing the Saints, who could put up a lot of points, don't stray from who you are. Stick to what we do. Panthers have done exactly that this afternoon. So which team hasn't won a game in 63 days?
Yeah, I mean, this should just status quo for the NFC South, right? I mean, this division has been so topsy-turvy all season long. I'm absolutely blown away that Sean Payton and his team have come out and just played, as he pointed out, the worst half of football that he's seen his team play since he's been the head coach, and they follow it up at the start of the second half, not changing anything.
The Saints turn the ball over on their first 2 possessions, and they've gone downhill from there as Drew Brees and the New Orleans offense head back out. Saints running only 22 plays in the first half. Brees throwing for 55 yards. Ingram just 23 on the ground. So the Saints, who have not lost 4 straight home games in a season since 2005, now trail by 28 as Kuechly finally brings down Ingram after a gain of 11.
And unfortunately, it's going to be very difficult to stick with that running game down by 28 in this situation. You don't want to panic, but there also has to be a sense of urgency and the ability to create a couple of explosive plays here offensively for the Saints.
And that hurts the passing game because that's exactly what they do, this New Orleans team. They run the ball, they establish the run, and then they go hit you with the play action to get the big plays downfield for the big chunks.
First and 10, 31-yard line off the fake to Ingram. Brees able to get rid of it. And it's Laurie, the fullback, who's tackled by A.J. Klein. Brees about to be brought down, able to find his fullback.
And again, you just got 4 defensive linemen bringing the pressure, and they're just continuing to work. You see Charles Johnson, he's pushed beyond the pocket by Bryce Harris, and yet he continues to battle and is able to impact that decision, that quality time in the pocket for Drew Brees.
Brees on 2nd and 10. Fires to the outside. It's Colston. So Marcus Colston with his 2nd catch today, number 650 of his career, as he extends as the Saints' all-time leading receiver. Now 650 career receptions for the former 7th-round pick out of Hofstra. Gain 9 on the play. So it will be 3rd down and 1. Morgan in motion. Here is Ingram. And he does not look like he made it.
Well, we sat down, we talked to Mark Ingram about that last game. He had 100 yards against the Panthers, but he told us it was hard-earned. He goes, I had a big run early in that game, but after that, it was a physical game. Those were all tough yards, and it's kind of the same situation today. And here go the Saints rolling the dice on 4th down.
Got him. I just don't like that play call. I don't like having all the receivers in, bringing everybody inside. I would have liked to seen a spread and then run the ball. Give Ingram a little bit of an opportunity to go and find a seam.
On fourth down, the toss, it's Ingram, and he picks up a first.
That's the play we saw on Friday, Darrell, for the goal line, right?
They had a little bit of jet motion with that one. This is out of your standard personnel with the two tights, the fullback, running back. You run that little belly and then get the quick pitch out. You get that flow back to the inside.
Give your running back a little bit of an opportunity to get on that edge.
Thomas in for Ingram from the 45. That pass could not be handled by the tight end Benjamin Watson.
And we've had a lot of drops today. Probably fourth drop pass in the game today, number 82, Benjamin Watson, coming off that little wing right there. He is wide open in the middle of the field. And you're going to get hit. You know, Trey Boston's still going to hit you whether you catch it or not. Might as well make that catch.
Now 2nd and 10. Saints send in Kyrie Robinson in the backfield. He's missed the last 6 games with an arm injury. As Breeze fires downfield, he was looking for Watson. No flags. It's Roman Harper. 8 years, a member of the Saints, won a Super Bowl here in New Orleans. Harper on the coverage.
Yeah, just a savvy veteran player. We'll see if he was there a little bit early. Fans here not happy with that call. He's going to drop down in.
Roman Harper so excited to come back, play in the Dome. He's been hearing from friends in New Orleans all week long. He told us yesterday, people have been telling me all week, just don't hit Drew too hard.
I like how he said it's going to be strange when he's out there, how quiet it's going to be.
That's right. There's Breeze on 3rd and 10, looking for Morgan, but the pass is off the mark. Out of bounds. Breeze just 2 for 7 here in the second half, and now the Saints will punt it away.
Off the spot again, Darrell.
Yeah, off the spot, and then, you know, not even really talking about rhythm. We talked rhythm first half, now just out of sync. You know, he is off the spot, and we see him do this back shoulder throw time and time again, and it's not in sync on the outside, and I haven't seen the Saints offense struggle like this in a long time.
Their catch called for at the 13-yard line by Person. A frustrating Sunday afternoon for Drew Brees and the Saints. 31-3 Carolina. Early third quarter, Kenny Albert, Darrell Johnston, Tony Siragusa in New Orleans. Cam Newton and the Panthers offense back to work from their own 14-yard line. Newton loses the football, scoops it back up, and makes something out of nothing. He'll pick up positive yardage close to a first down as he slides. He'll be ruled down shy of the marker.
Who says Cam Newton couldn't slide, Darrell? That was pretty good, that one.
Yeah, but you know what? This is bad news for the Saints right here, because when we talked to Greg Olsen, when we talked to Roman Harper, they said, you know what? We're just having bad things happen at the wrong time. You know, every time we think we're going to put ourselves in a position to make a play, we don't. The things that we did last year, we can't do this year. Well, there's a situation right there for something bad to happen, and Cam Newton scoops it up and makes a positive play out of that. So, good sign for the Panthers right there that maybe the luck has finally turned for them after these last 6 games. Newton
gained 8. He had a couple of 20-plus runs in the first half, has 76 yards on the ground today. He's got the football and dives forward for a first down. Well, somebody has to win this division. The New Orleans Saints with 5 wins. Atlanta 5-7 as well, and Carolina with a victory today, Darrell, would go to 4-8-1.
It just continues to get jumbled up the further we move into the season. And really, I thought Sean Payton and his group, after that big win at Pittsburgh, and you're coming home, and you've got Carolina who's reeling. You know, divisional opponent, we understand those matchups, but a great opportunity for the Saints today, and Carolina had just taken it to them.
Newton on first down, hands it off to Jonathan Stewart, who gains 4 as we head to Los Angeles for a game break with Kurt.
Well, guys, try figuring out Indianapolis. Andrew Luck picked off by Justin Gilbert. Second defensive touchdown of the day by the Browns. The first was on a Luck fumble in the end zone for a touchdown. And right now, Cleveland's up 21-10. mostly because of their defense. Kenny, Roof and Goose.
All right, thanks, Curry. Andrew Luck, who finished second in Heisman voting to Cam Newton back in 2010.
But we saw Andrew Luck last week, and he had 2 turnovers in his first 2 possessions. Sack, fumble, and an interception to start the game last
That's right.
week.
Same thing that happened to Drew Brees today. As the catch is made out at the 43-yard line for a first down. 8th reception of the day for Greg Olsen. And he gains 14.
Anything close to Greg Olsen, he gets it. Here he is right here, just a nice little seam route. He's a tough guy. Thrown at 8 times, caught all 8 passes.
His career high in the game is 9, Goose. Just 1 shy. Son of a very successful long-time high school coach in New Jersey. First and 10 from the 43. It's Newton diving up the middle. Now, Kurt told us about the Browns leading the Colts.
Cam got hurt on that one, guys.
Yep. Newton remains down. Here he comes. Oof. Smiling as he gets back up.
That's the one thing about, running the ball over and over again. Cam Newton's a big guy, but those linebackers, they can hit. He cuts back inside. There's blood on his right knee of his pants. Don't know if it's his or somebody else's, but he's taking this game over, putting it all in his hands.
Kenny Vaccaro with that hit on Cam Newton. Play clock winding down. Panthers get the snap away as Newton hands it off to Stewart. And Stewart is across midfield to the New Orleans 48-yard line.
Well, I really like this play because it's that zone read, but you're adding Greg Olsen as an element, so it kind of has the feel of a traditional run power. Watch 88 come into the screen now. There he goes, crossing the formation. You can see him eyeing up the block, secures the edge a little bit there, and then picks up the scraping linebacker. So it's an extra blocker to the outside. So real nice little added dimension to that zone read scheme.
Third down and 2. Just under 7 minutes remaining. Third quarter. And it's Olsen again, but he stops shy. Patrick Robinson along with Kenny Vaccaro. Olsen with his 9th reception, which ties his career best, but the Panthers will punt it away.
You always have to push that route to the first down marker when you're in that short yardage situation and you're trying to get that flat route done. You've got to push that. You've got to get across that defender, get the necessary yardage, because if you do get hit immediately, you want to just be able to have that catch secured and have the yards for the first down.
Jalen Saunders has had a couple of big returns for the Saints today. Movement prior to the snap.
Neutral zone infraction, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Wow. So the Carolina offense will head back onto the field.
If it could go wrong, it has gone wrong for them.
Their special teams coach, Greg McMahon. So Carolina will maintain possession.
We haven't stopped them very often on third down during the course of the afternoon, and the Saints defense finally gets off the field, and special teams lets them down.
Division winners a year ago at 12-4. Panthers actually won their first 2 games this season. One of those without Cam Newton. Derek Anderson started against Tampa Bay. They were 3-2. Then they tied Cincinnati, so 3-2-1 following that tie on October 12th. But they have lost their last 6 games. Huge turnaround today. And amazingly still in the divisional race in the NFC South. Off the fake to Stewart. Newton moving to his left. And Newton will head for the sidelines. He's pushed and a flag. Cameron Jordan, remember he and Newton were in each other's faces earlier prior to that big altercation in the end zone, and Jordan pushing Newton after he crossed the sideline.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 91, late hit out of bounds. 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
That's the 4th personal foul today.
I think you're right. That goes all the way back to the beginning of the game, and let's see where he is. You know, he's still in the field of play. You know, by definition, he has to be out in the white. He's actually in the field of play. So this is just one of those situations where it looked a lot worse than it is, but I don't agree with that call right there, because Cam Newton is out of the pocket. He's a runner. He doesn't have the protection he has anymore. Exactly.
He's
too dangerous. He could stop and cut back inside. So I don't agree with that call. I think it goes all the way back to that emotional thing we had early in the game when everything blew up, because it was Cam Jordan and Cam Newton at the crux to that.
I agree. It looked worse at first glance. Now on the screen, it's Fozzie Whitaker. And Whitaker is inside the 10, the 5, dives for the end zone. Touchdown.
You know, we really have to pay off the offensive line of the Carolina Panthers today. They have been outstanding. They finally got everybody together. And watch them get out on the screenplay to Fozzie Whitaker. There's going to be 2 great blocks on the screen. Look at that downfield. You can get back inside. And again, there's nobody there as a Saints defender to stop these plays.
Sean Payton said it was the worst first half his team has ever played. Could be the worst 3 quarters. I mean, there's 5 minutes left, but man.
Oh, it is. Well, it is. I don't care what they do from this point on.
Yeah,
it's a lot of different things. It's not just your execution, rhythm, and things like that. The emotion.
Yeah, they're
right now
themselves in a lot of things. At offsides, not smart football at all.
And the penalty when they were lined up to punt. Panthers were lined up to punt and gave Carolina first down. Then the personal foul called on Jordan, although it was close. The extra point is good. So here's Newton heading for the sidelines. Jordan the shove. He was flagged 15 yards, and then Whitaker dives just inside the pylon. Season high 38 points for the Carolina Panthers. 9-play, 86-yard drive. 2 key penalties. The offsides when the Panthers were set up to punt, and then the personal foul call on Cameron Jordan. So the Saints get the ball back, trailing by 35. It's not a selfie, but Cam Newton snapping a photo, a day he'd like to remember. Largest home deficit for the Saints since September of 2003. Peyton Manning coming back to his hometown. Actually had a 42-point lead in that game over Jim Haslett's Saints. This is the largest deficit for Sean Payton as Saints head coach anywhere, home or away, as that pass bounces off the chest of Jimmy Graham and the boos rain down. Payton back in September of 07 in Indianapolis, trailed by 31. So today the largest deficit since Payton took over the Saints.
You can't have rhythm. You can't get into sync offensively if you can't make plays. And again, that's, I think, drop number 4, drop number 5 for the New Orleans Saints on the outside. Jimmy Graham, I mean, how many times have we seen him make that catch? It's simple. It's just whatever it is today, it's spreading throughout this team.
Only 1 catch today, none last week in Pittsburgh in the win. Now Breeze on 2nd and 10. Down he goes. First sack of the game on either side as Breeze is taken down at the 18-yard line.
Collapse in the pocket again, Darryl.
Just the 4 guys, too, Tony. So you got 7 guys back in coverage, and Drew Brees has nowhere to go, and that offensive line protection is breaking down.
Second sack of the season for K'Wan Short.
Yeah, K'Wan Short and Charles Johnson run a little bit of a game on the outside, tackle end game, and comes free. And did exactly what they want to do and knocking Drew off his spot.
Now Breeze firing downfield, looking for Morgan on 3rd and 12, and the pass is broken up by the rookie out of North Carolina, Trey Boston, the 4th-round pick. So the Saints, trailing by 35, will Punted back to the Panthers.
I sat down and talked to Roman Harper, and he said, you know what, we're getting confidence. We've played well over the last 4 or 5 games, and you know we got to keep it going. You can see that today. So areas where Carolina has struggled, where they haven't been able to make the plays, everything has come together this afternoon.
Punt angled towards the near side, taken by Burson. And he's tackled by Humber at the 39. Terrific defensive stand by the Carolina Panthers. Late third quarter in New Orleans. Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers leading Sean Payton's Saints 38-3. Panthers with 440 yards of offense. 4 times as many yards as New Orleans. From the 39 on first down, it's Jonathan Stewart. Looks to cut it back inside. Not much. Stewart with a 69-yard touchdown run earlier in this quarter. 146 on the day. Those look like the numbers that the Saints used to put up on teams.
Absolutely.
4-to-1 ratio. Panthers empty the backfield on 2nd and 9. Newton over the middle. And the catch is made by the tight end, the former Raven Ed Dixon, for a first down.
One of the things that Carolina has done really well offensively today is their second down production. And you can stay committed to the running game and play that style if you have the confidence. If it's a 2nd and 9, a 2nd and 10, you didn't have success on that first down run, to come back and get positive plays. And they've done that a number of times this afternoon to stay in accordance with down and distance.
First and 10 from midfield, off the fake to Whitaker. Vaccaro on the coverage. Pass intended for Greg Olsen, who leads the Panthers with 9 receptions today. Had a touchdown back in the second quarter.
Again, the play action. Now all the boot schemes come into play. Now it just becomes difficult because you have to cover the width of the field, the depth of the field. Carolina has thrown a lot of things at New Orleans defense today, and that's without D'Angelo Williams on the right there. Jonathan Stewart doing it all himself. Ozzie Whitaker with the big touchdown on the screen last series.
For the Saints, Brian Dixon in at corner for Keenan Lewis, out with cramps. His return is questionable. On 2nd and 10, this is Tolbert. And Mike Tolbert picks up a first down. Tolbert had only 15 yards on the ground coming into this game. He has 25 today, as he gained 15 on that one.
Well, we just showed you a picture on the sideline. You know, Jonathan Stewart, Fozzie Whitaker, D'Angelo Williams, who's inactive today. Well, who's going to carry the ball? The big man, Mike Tolbert.
I'll tell you what, he looked pretty good too there, Darryl. Tell you what, he's running hard.
That's some Jerome Bettis looking run right there.
That big ass bicep.
Excuse me, Goose?
Excuse me, hey, whoa.
You can say it on Fox Sports 1.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
There's Newton looking for Dixon. You said it's an asset, right?
Big asset.
Size is a big asset.
Doing huge curls. Big man running. Look at that guy right there. He's got it all. Fuel tank right around the midsection. This area. He's got the biceps.
Well, remember his time with the Chargers. He once scored 11 rushing touchdowns in one season for San Diego back in 2010.
He gives you the ability to take 2 roster spots, because obviously he's a great lead back as a fullback, and then we've seen today you can put him back at the top of the eye and he can do some damage.
Here is Newton floating one up towards the end zone. It was Dixon on the coverage. Philly Brown, the intended receiver.
A lot of confidence in his guys today, because it's just going to be floated up. Gets a good release off the line of scrimmage. He's beyond Brian Dixon right there. Again, we're having a little bit of contact before that ball arrives.
Yeah, but they haven't been calling that all game.
No, they really haven't. They've stayed consistent with it.
Yep.
Philly Brown is shaken up. In fact, this crew, Walt Coleman's crew, they've called the third fewest penalties this season, the fewest defensive pass interference.
And teams
of
know
any
that.
crew.
Yeah, defense coordinators, they'll come into a meeting, even back when me and Darryl played way back when, and they'll go and they'll tell you, hey, listen, these guys aren't going to go and call penalties, and you can get away with a little bit more, so push it a little bit, and that's something that you go and you play with.
16 more yards, guys, for Tolbert. Another Carolina first down.
Yeah, and credit Brian Dixon right here. He is outmanned in size, and he comes in and gets down there and gets Mike Tolbert down to the ground.
Dixon in for the injured Lewis. So the Panthers are in the red zone. 3 touchdowns in 4 red zone possessions, as you pointed out. False start.
False start. Number 88, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
I don't know why you do a hard count on first down. Try to get a free play.
I like 1st and 5 better than 1st and 10.
Yeah, but 1st and 15.
The way Carolina's offense is rolling today,
Yeah,
big
you're
deal.
right. Everything's been going against New Orleans, so why not try it, right?
So now back out of the red zone. 1st and 15 from the 24. Carolina Panthers leading 38-3. Here's Stewart, looks to bounce it back inside, and he gets swallowed up. Under 1 minute remaining, 3rd quarter here in New Orleans. Panthers approaching 500 yards of offense, now at 482, 4th most in franchise history. And it's a season high. The previous high, 431 in the overtime game, the tie in Cincinnati. Here's Stewart on 2nd down. Diving forward. Gauge 3 down to the 21, and this should take us to the end of the 3rd quarter as Philly Brown, the rookie wide receiver out of Ohio State, will head back to the Carolina locker room. Panthers add to their lead. It was 24-3 at halftime. 2 3rd quarter touchdowns. Looking to pull to within 1 victory of the division lead. All Carolina Panthers, following 6 straight defeats, 7 consecutive games without a victory, they have come into New Orleans and lead Drew Brees and the Saints as we get set to start the 4th quarter. 38-3. D'Angelo Williams on the right next to Jonathan Stewart. Without Williams, Stewart has rushed for 149 yards. Panthers closing in on 500 yards of offense. 3rd down and 12 from the 21. As Newton sets up the screen, this is Olsen. He lost the football, then he falls on it. He appeared to fall on it. And he did. So 4th down and the field goal unit for Carolina.
Well, Ron Rivera made a comment this week. We are who our record says we are, and that's a 3-8-1 team coming in here, and they have not played like a 3-8-1 team. He may have to adjust that. Maybe a week-to-week thing here in the NFC South to figure out who you guys are. And I mean, this has been such an impressive performance by the Carolina Panthers this afternoon. Not any indication of a 3-8-1 team.
No. Graham Gano connects from 41 yards out as the Panthers extend their lead. It is now 41-3 Carolina. We are back in New Orleans, where the Panthers have a 41-3 lead on the Saints following the 41-yard Graham Gano field goal. Season high in points for Carolina. Fewest points the Saints have ever scored under Sean Payton is 7. They've never been held below 7 during the Payton era. 14 continues later today on CBS, and for some of you on Fox. And tonight, Sunday Night Football on NBC, and tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN. Both of these teams will have a close eye on the Falcons at Lambeau, taking on the Packers. Atlanta, like New Orleans, with 5 wins, and the Falcons with a tough schedule down the stretch.
Yeah, you saw they have Green Bay tonight, then they have Pittsburgh at New Orleans and Carolina to finish the year.
Here is Breeze dumping it off for Thomas. Thomas gains 1 as we check in with Kurt Menefee. Kurt.
All right, Le'Veon Bell, 6 yards away from 200 total yards in this game. The Steelers on top of Cincinnati. They literally just scored, pending the extra point. It's 34 on the verge of 35-21. Kenny.
All right, thanks, Kurt. Here's Colston for a Saints first down. Marcus Colston out to the 45, and it's been well documented that every team in the AFC North is at least 2 games above 500. All of the teams in the NFC South at least 2 games below, and these divisions played against each other this season, and the Steelers are the only team in the AFC North to lose to an NFC South opponent as Thomas takes it out to midfield. Steelers losing to both the Saints and the Buccaneers, but the NFC South teams have gone just 2-11-1 against the AFC North.
That's why coming into this game, New Orleans played so well last week at Pittsburgh. You thought that maybe they had got their season back on track.
Catch is made by Nick Toon for another Saints first down to the Carolina 39.
And they did it without any help from Jimmy Graham. The Steelers did a great job. Not only no catches, but not even targeted. So there was such a great performance by all the supporting cast of the Saints offense. You wondered how Carolina was going to defend that, and they have just been outstanding today defensively.
Timeout is taken by the Panthers. Saints with that 35-32 win over the Steelers in Pittsburgh last week. Big difference. Only 8 first downs today. Second quarter field goal from Shane Graham. He also missed one. But the Saints have not been able to reach the end zone. Breeze with 5 touchdown passes last Sunday in Pittsburgh. And Breeze has thrown a touchdown pass in 30 consecutive games. Of course, he once held the record for consecutive games with a touchdown pass before it was broken by Peyton Manning. Here's Breeze on first down. It's Colston again, and he takes a hard hit from his longtime teammate, Roman Harper, and Colston a bit slow to get up.
Marcus Colston coming out of the slot, pushing it just straight up the field, finds that little soft spot. But as you pointed out, Roman Harper's right there.
Yeah, Colston did not have control, so it's ruled an incomplete pass on the hit from Harper. Harper still very close with numerous Saints. In fact, he went on vacation with some of his ex-teammates during the offseason.
And Darryl crashed the party too, I heard.
That's right. Here's 2nd and 10.
Where was it at, Darryl? Tell us.
We were down in Cabo, and you know, us gray-haired guys got to stick together. So I recognized Roman by the pool, and he was with Jonathan Goodwin and Jari Evans, and Jermon Bushrod had come down from Chicago, and they get together every year, and they take the trip with their wives, and it was really cool to see. They were fun. Every day they were off to a new adventure. Fishing, golfing.
Did they invite you along?
No, I was not on the inside. I got to hang out with them for a day, but it was one of the things that I've always told you know, guys when they're playing. If you have an opportunity to be a part of a championship team, you know, take time in the off season to go celebrate that and create memories. And it was great to see Roman and his guys, you know, still together even with the change in teams, that they take the time out in the off season because it is such a long, hard, challenging season. And afterwards, if you really kind of just jump right back into it, you miss out on that opportunity to create some memories. And it was just, I was happy to see those guys that, you know, it was important to them to get away with their wives and spend some time together and reminisce about what they'd accomplished so far.
2nd and 10 from the 25-yard line. Catch is made by Joe Morgan. He pulled it in at the 11 for a Saints first down.
No doubt, when you talk about Roman Harper, he's a special kind of guy. I mean, he goes over to Carolina and, talking to all the DBs and all of his teammates, he's just fit right in, became an instant leader, knows what it takes to win, and they all, just follow in his footsteps. And he's going to gain a lot of friends and memories there in Carolina also.
There is a flag on the play as Breeze was taken down.
Illegal shift in the offense. 2 men moving and not resetting. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
Going to have the two guys split out to the left. You can see that they were both moving as they came to the line of scrimmage when the ball was. But again, there's getting Drew Brees off the spot. It's been impressive to watch Carolina's front able to generate pressure with that down 4 and allow those 7 guys to be back in coverage and clog all those throwing lanes.
Mario Addison bringing down Breeze. Penalty decline, now 4th and 16. Breeze in trouble. Now he throws, and it's broken up. Still's the intended receiver, Trey Boston, over to make the play. So the Panthers will take over on downs, leading by 38. Yes, 38. Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers out to a 41-3 lead after Newton gave the Panthers a 17-point lead in the first quarter. Tempers flared. Carolina tight end Brandon Williams was ejected. But the Panthers in a shocker here in New Orleans lead by 38. Jonathan Stewart knocked out of bounds at the 38 after picking up 7. It's week 14 as we check out the playoff picture in the NFC.
Well, we thought we were going to get some clarity here in the NFC South. The Saints maybe jumping ahead to get to 6 and 7, force the Falcons, who play the Packers tomorrow night, to put them in a difficult spot. But Carolina crashed that party and has come out and played great. So the NFC South will continue to be jumbled. And the Falcons have a tough schedule down the stretch. The Saints and the Panthers have a similar schedule down the stretch. So this is going to make things very, very interesting.
Here's Stewart, and although the Carolina Panthers were not a part of that graphic, with only 3 wins coming into the game, with the victory today, they are very much still in the hunt.
And we talked about Ron Rivera and his team. He made the statement that we are who our record says we are, and that really put them in a position today of being on the cusp of elimination. This was a do-or-die scenario for the Carolina Panthers, and they have responded, and it's been an impressive showing. I mean, everything that they talked about that has happened to them during this 6-game losing streak, there's plays to be made, we're not making them. Things that we did last year, we're just not doing this season. Everything came together for them this afternoon. They've been very, very effective. Offensively, great defensively, great complementary football.
On 3rd down and 4, it is Stewart, and he will not get there.
So they'll get to 4-8-1. The Saints will drop to 5-8. So the Carolina Panthers down the stretch after today. Tampa Bay 2-10. Cleveland 7-5. One of those AFC North teams that have really dominated the NFC South this season, and then Atlanta. So could they get all the way to 7-8-1? If they continue to play like they did today, absolutely. Yeah, this has been impressive to watch.
Tolbert on the last carry for Carolina stopped a yard shy. So Nortman punting from his 30-yard line. A couple of big returns by Saunders earlier. But this time he is stopped shy of the 20. 9 minutes remaining in New Orleans. All smiles on the Carolina bench. Drew Brees remains in the game for the Saints, trailing by 38 with 9 minutes remaining in the 4th. There is Derek Anderson, Cam Newton's backup, across the way. From the 17 on 1st down, this is Thomas. And Pierre Thomas picks up the Saints' 1st down. Only the 10th first down for New Orleans today. Now Breeze backpedaling. And he throws it away before he was knocked down by Wes Horton. Time for a game break to Los Angeles. Joel Klatt. Joel.
Kenny, coming up, it's Mark Sanchez, LaShawn McCoy, and the Philadelphia Eagles as they take on the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson. It's America's Game of the Week next on Fox. Kenny, Moose, and Goose.
Thanks, Joel. Mark Sanchez facing his coach at USC, Pete Carroll.
Yeah, Eagles coming off of 10 days rest, not having played since Thanksgiving Day.
2nd and 10. The screen to Thomas. And Thomas gets tripped up down at the 32-yard line.
Having that break, Darryl, that 10 days that you said off that Philadelphia's had, is that a positive or is that a negative? You feel like you're out of rhythm as an offense or as a team, or did you really enjoy that and it was almost like a break?
Nah, we considered it a mini bye, and Dallas will get it now. They went Thursday, Thanksgiving to Thursday night versus Chicago. And now they'll get that 10 days leading up to their next game. But, yeah, we use it as a mini bye. I felt like we got refreshed getting into that big December push.
Colston gains 28, so we look forward to watching the Eagles and the Seahawks. Philadelphia in first place at 9-3. Seattle at 8-4. The matchup of the Eagles offense against the Seahawks defense. Tavares Cadet takes the handoff from Breeze down to the 34-yard line. We've talked throughout the afternoon about the NFC South and which team will make it to the postseason and host a playoff game. You think back to 2010, Seattle won their division. They won the West at 7-9, hosted the Saints, who were the defending champions at the time, and the 7-9 Seahawks won that wild card game.
Yeah, and New Orleans went out there and they had 10-point leads twice early in that game. The second time getting it to 17-7. We all remember the beast mode Marshawn Lynch run that just electrified that crowd. So everybody's clamoring for how can we have a team without a winning record as a division winner in the playoffs. And the Seattle Seahawks not only get in there, but then take out the Saints and move on to the divisional round.
And those Seahawks, the only team below 500.
Number 95 defense lined up in the neutral zone. That penalty's declined. Play results in a first down.
That's Charles Johnson. Those Seahawks, the only below 500 team to win a division, and here is what the Saints have to look forward to.
And I think if the Saints would have come out today and played well, I think you look at that schedule and say it's very manageable. I think right now you look at that in Chicago at 5-8. If I'm Mark Trestman, I am running Matt Forte until you stop him, because that seems to be the area that the Saints defense is really struggling at. I mean, today 266 yards rushing for the Carolina Panthers. Now, there's some quarterback yards in there, but Jonathan Stewart was excellent today. Mike Tolbert, when he was running the ball, I'm not going to stop. So if you look at that schedule post-game and you look and say, well, what do you think the New Orleans Saints are going to do there? Well, who knows? Chicago, that's up in the air. Atlanta, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's been playing well down the stretch. Seems to have gotten kind of sorted out. Detroit's been putting it on them a little bit today. But they're a team you never know what you're going to get. I don't think anybody can predict what New Orleans is going to do moving forward after their performance today.
Second down and 6. Breeze swings it out to Cadet. And Cadet takes it inside the 10. Congratulations to Jeff Fisher's Rams. They've had so many obstacles to get through this year, injuries to key players. They go to 6-7 with their second consecutive shutout. First team with 2 shutouts this season, back-to-back weeks over the Raiders and the Redskins. And they had gone 8 years since their last shutout prior to last week. Pass off the fingertips of Colston. So you have the Rams sitting at 6-7. They have a better record than any team in the NFC South.
They win. That's what happens when you play in the West. And you want to get Drew Brees off his spot. You want to do all these different things when you play against this Saints offense. There's playmakers across the formation. It's so difficult with your matchups. And hats off to Sean McDermott and his group. Roman Harper told us they've been playing better. They're getting close. They're starting to buy into what we're doing. He was excited to play with the young guys today in that secondary. They've done a great job. The down 4 has gotten pressure. They have moved Drew Brees off that spot, and they played coverage with the 7 guys they can drop.
Breeze on second and goal, and that pass bounces away from Graham.
It's been physical and tight coverage all day long. Jimmy Graham on the inside, just a simple flat route. Thomas Davis, there's not many linebackers in the NFL that you're going to feel comfortable with in a one-on-one situation with Jimmy Graham, but Thomas Davis has done an excellent job today in coverage.
Graham battling through the shoulder issues, no catches last week. He's had only one reception today, another 3 that he had a chance to make a play on. Breeze on third and goal, throws, and taking it in for the touchdown is the backup tight end, Benjamin Watson. So the Saints finally reach the end zone, and Breeze extends his streak 31 straight games with a touchdown pass.
Which was not easy in this game, Kenny. They were doing everything they could, this Carolina defense.
Well, he tried the out route on the last one. This time, let's bring him all the way across from the opposite side of the formation on that route, and just doesn't get picked up on the backside in the zone coverage. There were no receivers to the left side of the Saints office, and nobody picked up Benjamin Watson coming across the formation.
So the Saints avoid being held to their lowest ever point total under Sean Payton, which remains 7. 12-play, 83-yard drive. Saints finally reach the end zone. It's now a 31-point game as Cam Newton and the Panthers have come into New Orleans. They led 17-0 after one, 24-3 at the half, and 38-3 after 3 quarters. Jericho Cotchery comes up with the football. We take you back to week 9 in Charlotte. Cam Newton held to a career low 10 completions in that game, won by the Saints 28-10.
And I think the big difference you'll see is he was under duress in that week 9 matchup. The Saints defense really applying pressure. The Carolina offensive line did a great job today, and you see the numbers from week 9 to today, and I think probably the biggest reason why there is the play of the offensive line. They've been excellent with their run blocking, very good in protection.
Well, the Panthers have sent in both of their backup quarterbacks, Derek Anderson and Joe Webb. Webb comes in motion to the right. He's played some wide receiver in his career, listed as the 3rd-string quarterback on the depth chart. So it's Anderson who takes the snap and hands it off to Fozzie Whitaker. So Webb, who started 4 games at quarterback for the Vikings, getting some playing time late, as well as Anderson, who started week 1 for the Panthers against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, got him off to that 1-0 start, and then Cam Newton in the next week against Detroit to get to 2-0. We've seen the team that Detroit's become. They're ahead of Tampa Bay this afternoon, and it looked like a promising start. And they ran into some tough teams. They had Baltimore, they had Pittsburgh, and Roman Harper told us, we got roughed up against those 2 teams, and then Green Bay got us. But our other losses, we were in a position to win those games, and we're a young team, and we're trying to find our way. And it does take a while. I was part of a 1-15 team, and one of the reasons why is we couldn't find a way to win a game. We would find a way to lose a game, from time to time, and that's kind of the bad luck that stumbled onto Carolina in that 6-game stretch. Again, I talked about this earlier. Great opportunity for Cam Newton this year with a young team. If they are going with the youth movement in Carolina and the strong personality of Steve Smith isn't there, and at some point Kelvin Benjamin will step up as a guy on the outside, probably a strong personality guy with his success as a wide receiver. Cam Newton has a great opportunity now. It's by de facto because you're the quarterback, but just be that guy that if I ask somebody on the offensive side of the ball, who's the leader of the Carolina Panthers offensively? Without hesitation, everybody says Cam Newton.
Who today matched his career high with 3 touchdown passes. Also ran for 1. You look at this NFC South, Darrell. They've gone without a repeat division winner over the last 11 seasons. Carolina won the division last year. They still have a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the NFC East, is that going to end this year? Are the Eagles going to win back-to-back division championships and end that streak with the East? I was surprised to see that it's been 9 seasons.
Cowboys the last 3 years have had an opportunity on the final night of the regular season.
They wanted to keep the streak going.
Nortman punts it away. So the Saints will be pinned deep with just over 3 minutes remaining. Well, this Saturday, our own Joe Buck will be in Florida with Greg Norman to bring you the final round of the Franklin Templeton Shootout as some of the best golfers in the world compete with over $3 million on the line. It all starts Saturday at 1 Eastern, only on Fox, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Drew Brees back out, 3:05 remaining. The Saints have not lost 4 straight at home since the 2005 season. They've had such an unbelievable home field advantage for the most part throughout the Sean Payton era. Winning all 8 here at home last season, first 3 this year, but this will be their 4th consecutive home loss. Yet, with the Falcons in action tomorrow in Green Bay, there's a good possibility that 36 hours from now, they will still be tied for the division lead in the wins column.
But the big thing it comes back to, it doesn't matter whether it's here at home or on the road. They've been very inconsistent. And when we talked to Sean Payton, we talked to Drew Brees, the guys here with the Saints, and said, is there anything you guys look at specifically with the mojo at home? It just doesn't seem to be there anymore. And they're like, no, it doesn't have anything to do with home and away. It just, we're not playing good football. And, you know, unfortunately, the last 3 games that we've played at home, those have all been games we've played poor football. Now it's 4 consecutive home games where they have not played good football. So they've got to get this figured out. It's been one of those things that every week we talk to the teams, and inconsistency seems to be the real commonly used word, and nobody can really put their finger on it. It's one of those things that's happened in the NFC South this year, and it's unbelievable, you know, to see the way that this game transpired during the course of the afternoon. Did not see this one coming.
Saints center Jonathan Goodwin shaken up. Tim Lolito snapping the ball to Drew Brees just in case. Lolito has started 2 games this season. We'll be back. .31 lead for Carolina, just shy of 500 total yards. 38-point deficit for the Saints in the 3rd quarter, their largest in 11 years. Only 55 passing yards in the first half for Drew Brees as Pierre Thomas picks up a first down and then is tackled from behind at the 36-yard line. He gains 16. A timeout is taken with 2:20 remaining and an injured Panther. It's backup linebacker Ben Jacobs. Great job by our entire crew here in New Orleans today. Led by producer Barry Landis, our director Brian Lilly, sideline producer Nick Gagliano. Associate director is Joe Williams, broadcast associate Paul Marmero, technical producer Sid Drexler, technical director is Chris Castro. Dave Corris crunching the numbers for us, along with Rick Camps and Ben Boma.
What a team we got, Kenny. What a team.
The best.
Also, Joe Gagliano wanted to wish him a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Joe. As Brees sets up the screen, it's Thomas. Thomas out to the 39, and this will take us to the 2-minute warning. All Carolina, as they will win for the 4th time this season and stay alive. Not a good day for the New Orleans Saints. They fell behind early, turned the ball over twice on their first 2 possessions. Cam Newton and the Panthers capitalized. And Ron Rivera's club remaining very much alive in the NFC South. This is Morgan. Carolina home for their next 2, hosting Tampa Bay and Cleveland. And then week 17 in Atlanta. Falcons with a huge game tomorrow night in Green Bay. And for Sean Payton's Saints, they will drop to 5-8 Atlanta 5-7, Carolina 4-8-1. This is Graham, only his second catch. This play is blown dead. It's a false start.
Penalty. Still first down.
Jimmy Graham, the two-time Pro Bowl tight end. Nothing last week. Only 2 catches today for the North Carolina native. Here's Thomas. Thomas to the Carolina 35 as the clock winds down. We approach 1 minute remaining.
They've kind of got to get that Jimmy Graham thing sorted out. I mean, I know last week in Pittsburgh, I think you can rally around the fact that, you know, you still have 5 touchdown passes and he's not even targeted, but he's too important to this offense. He's, you know, I know the shoulder's an issue. It's probably impacted his production during the course of the year, but he has to be a part of what they're doing. He has to become one of those players that draws the double coverage, that opens things up for the other receivers in this offense.
2 games without a catch this season. Had only 1 reception prior to this drive. To the 25-yard line, it is Thomas. So not much clarity following this one in the NFC South. As the Panthers go to 4-8-1, they will end their 6-game losing streak, their first victory in 64 days. Off the left hand of Graham. 29 seconds on the clock. So Atlanta at 5-7, first place in the division. And they will remain in first place even with a loss tomorrow in Green Bay because of the head-to-head overtime victory over New Orleans back in week 1. Falcons and Saints here at the Dome 2 weeks from today. Holston. So the Carolina Panthers come into New Orleans and defeat the Saints by the score of 41-10 as Cam Newton ties his career high with 3 touchdown passes to Cleveland for the conclusion of the